Hello. So, some time ago, actually way too long time ago, I got a question under a video that I made. If I can make a video showing the entire bassoon and all the keys and the holes on it. Sure, why not? Let's do that. So today is the day. Of course, some of that is more interesting than other things. When it comes to the very highest stuff here, this I have already presented before in another video, so feel free to check that out to save everyone some time. Other crazy stuff, what do we have? Actually, all of this is also mentioned on my website, so you can also see there in more details and stuff like that. Link to the site is in the description. But one of the things, or some of the things are, for example, let's start in the very lowest range. Actually, the lowest range starts here on my bassoon. I have three keys here. E flat, C sharp, like there is on most bassoons. Here also I have a low A. The low A is going from here, and it's stretching up the entire bass joint, up here, up here, up here, up here, and then it goes up until here. And then I have an A bell. It looks like this. And this connection connects to the A bell up there. Maybe not very easy to show that on the camera, but then you can play chromatically down to low A. I have already also done a video about the low A bell, cons and pros and stuff like that. That's another thing. If you want to check that out, link is down there. So that's low A. And then another tricky thing is, for example, play rapidly this. That is C sharp to D sharp in the low register. Here there is a little funny key. This one. As you can see, here's the D key, here's the C key, B natural, B flat. Above the C, there is a little thing. This, if you press this down while you play low C, of course with the thumb, then you get a C sharp. And then to get the E flat, you just keep this on and you just trill with this E flat key down here. Then you can trill C sharp, D sharp. We also added a little roller on that, so it's more easy to get there with the thumb. Other funny things on the left thumb, I will not go into detail on this one because this is also in the high note video, I believe. It is here, and one thing is, yeah, you have tons of rollers, but everything here is the same: octave key, C sharp, A, C, D, and then on the very top there is one more key. That is what we call the G key, a high G, because you play your high D, you go up with those keys here that I have showed in another video, and then eventually if you push this down, then you get the high G. And what it does is basically exactly the same as the A whisper key, but it's located there. So actually this is just connecting with the bridge. The bridge is here. So this is the same key, yeah? This is exactly the same thing. Because then when you are on the high F sharp and your thumb is already on the D whisper key, you don't need to jump down, to get to the G. You can rather just go whoop, up there. Makes life easier for that. Also, when it comes to high notes, another thing that I was collaborating with Mossman with was, on many bassoons, mine included, sometimes we have like a little bridge between the whisper keys here and the rod that's going up here, that's going all the way up to the vocal. I have that on one key. I have it on the A whisper key, as you can see here. And sometimes that's a very good key to have, or a very good bridge to have, this connection, because it's then, closing here while you press that whisper key down. But sometimes that's not good at all, especially if you want to play very high notes. For example, a high G, stuff like that, or even higher. Then closing up here is limiting you, because then you need both octave holes to be open. When I say both octave holes, I have also done a video on that, high note vocals and stuff like that, check it out. So then what we did is that I still want to have this bridge for most use, but I also want to have an option for when I play very high. So what we did then was to actually make a little, I don't even know what to call this in English, but we made a little path here on the rod itself, made a screw here. So when I screw this off, now I can actually move this up or down, which means now this is not activated. So if I press down the A whisper key, nothing up here happens. If I take it back down and lock it in place, now, I'm not sure if you can see that very clear, but now it's moving up here, meaning I'm covering that octave hole. So that is a fancy little gadget. that we worked on together, me and Mosman. Very thankful. Thank you. Another thing, this is quite more standard, but at the same time quite strange maybe. Here you can see I have a little screw. Yeah, I think you can see that on the video. This is also on the octave key rod here, on the key that is going all the way up to the vocal. And with this you can basically adjust the opening of this key. Because sometimes if you change vocals or stuff like that, then, or even if you change, for example, the cork or something under here, then the distance between the octave key, the octave hole on the vocal and that pad here can change. And sometimes you can hear, for example, this kind of air sound when the air comes out from the octave hole and hits the pad there, stuff like that. So with this you can adjust that quite easily. Makes no point for me to demonstrate to unscrew and screw this screw because it's so small details that you will not see that, but that is something you will feel and something you will hear when you are the one playing the instrument. So that is quite fancy. Going on, left thumb looks like that. Nice. Very standard, B flat, E, F sharp, A flat. Then the last one here, many people have here. This is basically A flat, B flat trill. That means you play your A flat normally here in the front. So like this. Difficult to show that on camera. Like here, yeah. And then to get B flat, you just need to trill here. That's what it does. Another fun thing on the right hand here is this handrest. This is a flexible handrest. That means I can bend it to wherever I want. So let's say, for example, some people will then comment, oh, these keys are so far away. You know, how can you reach this key? Personally, for me, it's not a problem. But for people who would have the problem, you can just do this. You just move that. You can move it back and forth. You can also move it this way, up and down, basically wherever you want. And there are some holders for this thing. So it's, in general, quite hard to move, which I prefer. It's also possible to make it very loose, that you do what you want. But I want it quite hard to move because normally I don't want this to move around. But on the few times I do, I'm very fine with using a little bit of power just to, get it where I want it. That also makes, my hand position basically ideal because this I can move to wherever I want. So wherever is comfortable for me, that's where this stays. So that is one little thing that I can recommend people to install, maybe. Another thing here, you can maybe see there is something going across here. What on earth is going on here? That is, I can play this trill. E to F sharp. By basically playing F sharp in the front with the pinky F sharp, hold that in, and then to get E, you just trill with low E. Quite a genius little mechanism there. You can try it on your own horn if you want and see if you don't have that connection, how would you trill E to F sharp? Not the easiest thing to do. So then, for example, now I have already covered two quite special intervals, low C sharp to D sharp and low E to F sharp. My bassoon study number 1, opus 33 from 12 bassoon studies, it starts like that. Very easy with those keys, not so much fun without them. So if I ever record it, I will do it the original way, don't you worry. Next up, here there is tons of keys. This one is very normal, I think. That is a C sharp trill, meaning when you play C, and you can trill to C sharp this way. Maybe not the best in tune in my opinion, but works here, especially when the reed is dry, not very nice. This key and this key is the same, but it's located on two different places. Why on earth? Because when you play C and you want to trill to C sharp, of course you play here, but let's say you want to trill B natural to C sharp, then you can play B natural and you just add this instead. You cannot really go like that, or you cannot change. So then it sounds like that. That is quite a good option to have. This one, this key here is the same as I have between the tone holes here. This one, the one I have between the C and D tone hole. It's going from here, stretching between those two joints here and all the way up to this key. So it's the same one. But when I have it on the right hand, I can also use it for different purposes. For example, to trill, let's say in Mozart, on C to D there, stuff like that. Then I can just do a shake trill with the right hand and on this key, and I get C to D, for example. Also in general, these two keys here, there are so many trill combinations you can do with those. It is crazy. I cannot play all of them here now, but I'm talking about maybe 20 different trill combinations across the range that you can do with those keys. So sometimes it's really a lifesaver. And I also made a video some time ago where I had to find new fingerings from tenor A flat to B flat, because I said while I was borrowing a different bassoon that I have two keys here that I normally use for this trill. These are the keys. So normally for A flat to B flat, I could do that, for example. So this is how that works. And I think on the left hand here now, this is stuff I have already covered in a different video. Beside that, I think that's more or less it. At least as far as I can remember right now. So I hope this was somewhat useful for you, and I hope it sort of answered the question. If there are any more questions about it, feel free to ask in the comments below or to check it out on my website, which is also in the description below. So, thanks for listening and see you soon.